stab you in my ear like 500 times. Oh my God. Look, we're together in the same room.
Finally.
Yay!
We're here.
It's so lovely to be here with you today with the lovely Dane Weeks, who I am just really excited is here. Hey, Mel Buckner, how are you? So I'm in New York.
You're in New York.
I'm in
Welcome.
New York. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. And I'm even more ecstatic that we can figure out how to pull this off because we've known each other on Twitter for a really long time. And now we're like,
she slid in my DMs.
I did. I slid in your DMs, but I use lube. So I just slid right on in.
Was that easy?
In the nice way. Because
she didn't take advantage of me.
No, someone just tweeted that. Who was it? Oh my God, one of those fabulous abortion rights activists on Twitter talked about how people don't just slide in your DMs.
No.
They like run in with no lube and
It's disrespectful.
It's so awful. So anyway, I slid into your DMs.
Slid into your DMs. And
so happy to see you.
It was a match made in heaven.
It was a match made in heaven. So I am so thrilled that you're here today. Hi, Joe. So we have a lovely conversation to have with y'all. So let's start. We were trying to figure out where to start when we decided to do this. So I think we should start with presidential candidates because we decided to just straight out the gate get feisty. So so we were talking earlier about the candidates, and we were talking about how on Twitter in particular, I'm getting yelled at because I'm like, I'm not going to just vote for anybody, right? And so because I would like to vote for somebody, hey, Bree, I would like to vote for somebody who can actually like, Joe Stamen?
Yeah, he said go back.
Yeah.
What up, Joe?
So awesome. So we were talking about how we're not really like overly excited about what's happening right now.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that none of the 20 candidates that are running are not qualified or experienced to be president of the United States.
Sure.
That's not the problem.
Right.
The problem is they don't do anything for me personally. Do I have my particular favorite? Yes, of course. Will I vote in 2020 based on who wins? Yes, of course. But don't tell me that I have to vote for Bernie Sanders because Trump is in office.
See, and if Bernie Sanders wins, I'm not voting.
I will write in Hillary Clinton's name.
Oh my God, I always write in Hillary Clinton's name.
Because at the end of the day, as a black gay man, I'm not going to vote for someone who continuously erase my identity.
I am so glad you said you would write in Hillary.
Yeah.
Because I have written her in twice now for president.
And don't forget, I'm in a state that's going to probably go blue regardless. Remember when y'all used to say, oh, my state doesn't matter, so I can do whatever I want with my vote. Boom.
Yes.
I'm going to do the same shit. I will be typing in
Hillary Clinton.
Fuck with me if you want to.
Yes.
But at the same time, I really don't feel like none of these candidates.
Yep.
Because we still haven't even got into policy yet, and they're all over the place.
Okay, so yes, I'm sharing that we're live.
And not only are they all over the place, I don't think we didn't even get to foreign policy yet. And none of these candidates, to me personally, are ready for a foreign policy debate. Especially not after Trump.
So the foreign policy issue is really gigantic because of what's been happening internationally ever since Trump became the president.
Yep.
And nobody that's running right now in the Democratic field can articulate what it is they're going to do to fix all these relationships that are totally broken internationally.
First of all, and this is another thing. It's so many things that's bothering me. That's why I cannot get to it. The only thing that's exciting to me about this whole entire primary, to the point that Hillary Clinton is not running as of yet. So the only thing that gets me exciting is dragging the fuck out of Bernie Sanders every day. Which you do so well on Twitter. It's like your favorite thing on there. That's my favorite thing to do is to drag the fuck out of Bernie Sanders every single day because this man has gotten away with just being a white man of a certain age for all these years. Yes. I put up a post the other day on Twitter. What has Bernie Sanders done since 1963 for the LGBT community, for the women community, for the black community? And no one has honestly responded with anything. They did a whole bunch of amendments. No, amendments is something that somebody else has done and you just attached your name to it. So Bernie Sanders gets no credit for that. You've been what? It's 56 years since 1963. You've been unemployed.
Yeah.
for the whole decade of the 70s, so we're not counting that shit.
No. Hi, Tiffany. No.
You've been on, government assistance, living on your mistress' couch in the 70s. That doesn't count as civil rights movement. You wrote gang rape essays and pedophile essays, and essays about cervical cancers being caused by lack of orgasm, probably because you never gave a woman one. But it's just so much to do about Bernie Sanders, and I feel like the media is once again ignoring all the qualified women, even though I'm not as excited for the candidates. At the same time, these women that are running deserve more time than someone who has done absolutely nothing. It's
not just that they deserve more time. It's literally that. Here's what bugs the shit out of me. Like, all of these women, because it was women who announced first, right? Mm-hmm. 5 women come out and they say, hey, we're running for president. Historic numbers of women saying they're going to run for president. And what happens? Instead of men saying, sweet, look at all these women running for office, we're going to get behind them. Mm-hmm. And Cory Booker and Joe Biden and all of these other Democrats, notice I'm excluding Bernie Sanders because he's not actually a Democrat. All of these men decide to slide in instead of being like, yes, this is my person. I'm going to support this woman. I believe in her. I know she'd be the next best president. They're like, oh, I could run for president too. And then they're like, oh, I could run for president too. No, because none of it is inspiring me. None of it is exciting to me. And I get on Twitter and I'm like, listen, I'm not just voting for any presumptive nominee. No. I'm not voting for an old white man for president ever again.
I'm over white beans.
I'm done. I'm done.
No white beans. I'm over it. I'm so over it.
No white beans.
No, but for one, let's also just say 4 years ago, Hillary Clinton announced she was running for president. Exactly today.
Today?
Today makes 4 years ago that she said she was going to run for president.
I cried. Did you cry?
Well,
I cried.
What was crazy about it, when I got the phone call, because I was out eating with my moms and my stepdad when I got the phone call, and I was just like, it's happening. Because I told my mom in 1995 when I watched her women's speech in China, Mom, this woman's going to run for president one day, and she's going to win. So when it came around in 2008 and, that all went through and, she chucked up her loss and she went to Secretary of State, I'm like, okay, 2015 is going to be this year that we finally put this woman into office. Mm-hmm. And then Bernie Sanders came, Russia came, Trump came, everybody else came and fucked everybody, life over.
Yep.
But what I would like to say that what the media is doing, I want people to realize right now is the fact that it wasn't Hillary Clinton. It's the media.
It's the media, and it's the fact that the media is full of a bunch of sexist assholes who will only raise and level up the voices of people who already have power.
And the crazy thing about it is the fact that everybody used to say, oh, they're just ignoring it because it's Hillary Clinton. Oh, they're just doing this because it's Hillary Clinton. Oh, they're just doing that because it's Hillary Clinton. And then now in 2019, when Hillary Clinton is not running and we have 4 qualified, experienced women running for president, they're being treated the exact same way. So,
and some of them are being treated worse.
Yeah. And as far as Elizabeth Warren is, now she realized it's not that easy running for president. Like, everybody thought it was easy because Hillary Clinton made it look easy to run for president.
Right, because her team was phenomenal and she was focused.
She was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, this was something that she didn't have to wake up one morning and just be like, okay, I want to run for president. She has set up a life. This woman has not she followed the alphabetical step to success. She went from A, B, C, D, E, F, G until she finally earned that nomination as president.
Yep.
She didn't skip no, big emotional promotional job or anything. She basically went from being first lady of the state, first lady of the country, to a senator, to secretary of state, to be, the nominee of the Democratic Party for president. All these people, we have a fucking mayor of a town of less than 100,000 people, and he's being prompted up as someone who can be president of the United States because he speaks 7 fucking languages. I can walk to the fucking Harlem and get somebody who speaks damn near 10 languages. That doesn't mean I want to put his ass in office or her ass in office. Who is this white man? And why is he even getting attention? He's gay. Okay, I get that. I'm gay. That doesn't mean I should be fucking president. And at the end of the day, he's gay, and he's only been gay for 4 years.
He's only been out for 4 years?
He's only been out for 4 years.
What?
That's why when people try to look for his resume in the LGBT community, there is none. Because he's been a white man in a white college town running on white politics for all these years. And all of a sudden now he's Mr. Gay Man. I'm in love with my husband, which is cool, but I'm ready for them news to drop because the news is coming. You found your husband on a dating app. And we all know in this gay community life, you done swap some penis pictures and some naked pictures and all types of things. And these are things that's going to come out.
Yeah.
And it's not the fact that we're attacking these people, but I'm so sick and tired of hearing, oh, we cannot vet these people because Trump is in office. I will do it what the fuck I want because I didn't put Trump in office.
No.
My vote went for Hillary Clinton. None of this mess is on my hand. None of this mess is on my doorstep because I did not vote for this man to be in office. I didn't vote for anybody else. I went there happily to vote for Hillary Clinton. I didn't go, oh, we have to. I went happily and I went desperately because I was voting for a woman that I knew I wanted to be president
that
since
you had believed in since 1995.
Right.
Yes. Which I love because a lot of people don't know her the way you and I know her. It's sort of
and the media doesn't do a good job of, promoting Hillary Clinton. They promote her negatively. Like the only time they're talking about Hillary Clinton is when they're telling her she should have done something better.
Hi, Mindy. So you and I were talking a little bit ago about how it's like finding policy positions for these people who are running, particularly the women. What do you want to see from the women who are running from office that would help elevate? Like, what kind of like, the thing I loved when Hillary ran was that when Hillary ran, it was this focused, you knew, it is a frightening mess, Joe. Like you knew what Hillary stood for. Her policy positions were solid. It was organized. She didn't change. She didn't waffle. She didn't shift. Her Twitter, all of her social media was on target and on point. Her speeches were incredible. The organization behind her campaign was phenomenal.
She was too prepared, remember?
Right, she was too prepared. That's right. We don't want a woman to be too prepared, except for now that there's all of these women who aren't too prepared. There's all these men who are running for the position as well because they don't think they're ready enough. And the women are more qualified than the men who are running for president.
It's mad. It's like I put out a post the other day, challenging all the men that's running for office to, basically press the media. If you're giving us airtime, make sure you give women that's running for president the same airtime.
Yes.
Do I feel like they're gonna, adhere to this? No, because I feel like the men that's running are, for the most part, egotistical.
Yeah.
They're not ready to be president. I think it's a personal agenda that they're all having. I think everyone running in 2020 has a personal agenda. Hillary Clinton's only agenda was, I have the experience and qualification to move this country forward. And that's what she's been doing every single day of her life for the last 50 years. And these people are coming in, they're not focusing on the base of the Democratic Party. They're coming in and they're telling us about white working class Americans, the ones who actually put us in this fuckery. So we're ignoring the base of the Democratic Party, which is people of color.
Yeah, what's up with the pivoting to the white Republican men? What is that shit? Hi, Jessica. What is that shit?
It's so annoying. Oh. And not only is it annoying, it's disrespectful because 94% of Black women have put their life and their vote on the line to make sure that their communities, their issues was brought to the forefront by voting for Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
And each state, from Michigan to Pennsylvania to Michigan to Wisconsin, Hillary Clinton lost by 1% or 1.5%. That's beyond the margin of error. And they're acting like she got blown out by 10%.
Yeah.
Like we're focusing on, states that she lost because she had to split her base between Jill Stein, Gary Johnson, and 100,000 people who fucking decided to write Bernie Sanders' name in. So I'm not understanding how she is being blamed for something that she had no control over. Because
we love to blame women. we love to blame women for getting raped.
Mm-hmm.
We love to blame women for not being able to afford the children that they have and getting abortions.
Mm-hmm.
We love to blame women for creating scenarios where men have to cheat on them and go live with other people.
Mm-hmm.
We love blaming women for all sorts of fuckery. And so now we're loving continually. Did you see that CNN kept bringing, I think it was Kristen Gillibrand, who they were talking to her about her relationship with Hillary Clinton, and they kept bringing it back to Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Like that's how they're vetting, you know, this amazing woman who like, I would like to hear more about her policy initiatives, right? Like, I would really like to know more about what she would like to do in the world. And we're being forced to listen to, what is your relationship with Hillary Clinton? Who the fuck cares?
Because
like, I want to know how you're going to be the president. I don't want to know how you're going to beat Donald Trump, because, and here's the thing, some of these candidates are milquetoast, dude.
Oh.
Like, they are so bland. They're not going to beat him. We've got 4 more years of Donald Trump at this point, don't you think?
We have 4 years of Donald Trump because, for one, none of these candidates, and we're going to take Biden out of the equation because his punk ass ain't even he didn't even, you know, he's playing the same game that he played in 2015. And I don't have time for this because we have people who are really dying out here.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a game for a lot of people, millions of people. This is not a game. And I think these politicians who are running, they're just running to, you know, boast their own image within the political platform. And that's cool and all, but at the same time, you have to beat Donald Trump. And then after you beat Donald Trump, where do you go from there?
Yep.
Winning is one part. The second part of the game is governing. Can you govern? And I don't want a mayor of a town governing the country and the world. Not after Trump. No. That's not going to happen.
No.
I don't see, you know.
My friend Gipsy just said you two should run. Hell yeah, we should.
Yeah. They ain't ready for this.
That's right.
They ain't ready for
this.
Hi,
Christy.
But
oh my God.
It's just, it's so annoying because we had the perfect candidate in 2015, 2016, and we went from having a 60% likability rate to just destroying this woman's image for a man who was sleeping on his friggin' mistress couch with no accomplishments other than messages.
Yep.
The difference between Bernie Sanders supporters and actually Democrats tell you what their candidates have done. Bernie Sanders supporters, they tell you what Bernie Sanders is going to do. You're not going to tell me shit when a man who's been an elected official for, you know, since 1981. That's damn near a year before I was born.
That's a professional politician right there.
That's a professional politician. He's the establishment white man who created the system.
Yep.
I'm sick and tired of this man getting, you know, a leeway, a pass on every single thing. It's the most annoying thing ever. And
he's not a Democrat.
And he's not even a Democrat.
This is the thing that's driving me crazy too. Like, could these third-party humans go and be third-party humans?
Yeah.
Like, there are places in the houses and in the Senate and at city, county, and state levels, and perhaps maybe someday even the presidency, where we need more than 2 parties. And I'm here for it. Take all your fucking money and go run that way.
Because at the end of the day, Bernie Sanders outraised Hillary Clinton and still lost by 4 million. Outspent Hillary Clinton and still lost by 4 million.
Because he's not a Democrat.
So it's not even so much that he's not even a Democrat. He's ass. Like, he has accomplished nothing. None of his policies make sense. His policies are unicorns. Like, the media is fucking with people's lives, and it's as a black man in America, this shit is scary as hell because it's like people who have experience are not being brought to the forefront. I have to watch Beto talk about his religion. I don't give a fuck about your religion, my dude. Like, separation of church and state. Like, I don't care about your religion. Are you religious? That's fine. You can do all the religion in the world. I don't care. With Beto or Bito, whatever the hell his name is, I'm tired of him jumping on tables and waving his hands. Like, dude, you want to fight? We can fight. Toss up. Like, but I'm gonna need you to calm down a little bit. Biden is too scared to get in the race. Who else? They're damn near ignoring Julian Castro.
But this is the thing. Like, why don't these men look at these women and say, "All right, you're right. It's time." Why do they have to run?
Because
why?
They feel like because no one wants to fully examine why Hillary Clinton lost. No one wants to examine why Hillary Clinton lost.
Right.
It's always quick to just be like, oh my God,
she was unlikable.
She was unlikable. She was untrustworthy. She didn't go to this state. She didn't go. No, these are not the reasons why Hillary Clinton lost.
No.
And this is why the presidential candidates of 2020 are going to lose.
Right. Joe wants to know how we change the conversation.
On what? Right now or just in general?
No, just in general. How do we change the conversation nationally? Like how do we shift this conversation?
I don't even know if we can shift the conversation because at the end of the day, the media has the biggest microphone.
Well, I don't know if I agree with, like, I know they have the biggest microphone, but I wonder if it starts in our communities. Like, if we start shifting this conversation in our communities, if we can connect the pieces for people at a more local level instead of a less national level. One of the things that I'm seeing in Oregon, because let's just be real, I do live in Oregon. So being here in New York, it's been, there's more trees in Oregon than buildings. And now there's more buildings than trees. It's fabulous. So one of the things that I've been really focusing on in my work and in the work that I've been doing as I've been going and doing these workshops all over the country is really helping people focus in on what is it in your community that's lighting you on fire and making you feel passionate so you can shift the conversation in your community. Right. And maybe one of the ways we change the conversation is by reminding people that politics hits them at home, right? That like what Kamala and Gillibrand and Warren and all of these people are talking about are potential policies that directly impact us here at home. And maybe the way we start shifting the conversation is we become louder locally so that the media is overshadowed by what's happening locally. I don't know if that's me thinking pie in the sky or not.
It's just, I don't know how local can 17 bodies getting shot in a high school get to change the conversation. I'm so over 33,000 people get murdered a year by guns. Number one, black men. Number two, women. Number three, kids.
Why is that still a thing? I really thought,
and you know, black people, brown people, we have been being gunned down in America for centuries. But I really thought after Sandy Hook, after these precious little, beautiful little kids who happen to be white, were gunned down like animals in the street. Sandy Hook was going to be. I thought, okay, finally, we're going to have a serious conversation about gun control, gun safety in America. And absolutely nothing happened. They acted like Bernie Sanders' vote to protect the gun industry did not happen after Sandy Hook while he was running for an election. Like, after the Charleston loophole, after the Charleston shooting, after, you know, Pulse, after, you know, Sandy Hook, after all of these shootings, I said, okay, Bernie Sanders cannot survive, not with his gun record.
Nope.
And yet, people made Wall Street more of a villain than the gun industry. And that's a problem for me because when you think about Wall Street, you think about millionaires and billionaires. No, there's janitors, there's secretaries, there's all types of other people that's also on Wall Street. Not every person who works on Wall Street are millionaires and billionaires. There are people who will go there and they work hard as hell. You know, they're not making these investments that, you know, produce criminality and hiding taxes and stuff like that. And Bernie Sanders took his ass to the post and made a mockery of himself. And then nothing happened. So at the end of the day, it's hard to believe that we're going to change the conversation when the conversation is always about protecting white males.
So the reason this continues to happen, I think I just answered my own question as I was listening to you talk, is because the people who are getting killed are black men and women. Like that's just right. So it doesn't matter that those.
And abortion rights, what does that affect? women. So, okay.
Especially women of color.
Marriage equality, what did that affect? Gay people, they don't really care about us.
They don't really care about that either.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, if you're not a white heterosexual man in America, and even if you're still a white gay man in America, you're still, obliged by the privilege of being a white man, unless you can be identified, primarily as a gay person, which enters the, masculine versus, feminine. I'm considered masculine, so when you look at me, you don't automatically see someone that's gay. Mm-hmm. If you look at somebody else and you can see that they're a little bit more feminine, you can think, okay, that person is gay, so it's harder for that person to hide who they are. It was easy for me to hide who I was for a very long time because I didn't present myself, right, quote unquote, as a flamboyant gay person, which is absolutely nothing wrong, but at the same time, I had to recognize my privilege as a masculine gay man because I can walk down the street and not be disrespected or attacked verbally for being gay. My nephew can walk down the street being a femme gay man and be easily attacked because people immediately see a gay man. Right. You know what I mean? So it makes it easier for him to be attacked. But at the same time, once you're not a white man in America, everything else falls under that radar. And we have all these white men running on the Democratic Party for the most diverse political party in the country, and all they're talking about is white working class Americans. I have a problem with that.
So maybe the question is not how do we change the conversation? The question is, how do we just quit having the fucking conversation that the white men want us to have? And have a different conversation.
I think it's time for us to stop voting for white men. Yeah. I mean, it's honestly time to stop voting for white men.
And it's time to make sure we put our money behind candidates that are not white men.
Right. Because we can only go into, Congress and we can see 95% of it is all white men. And when we look at the state of America, who's in charge? White men. Unfortunately, and this is not an attack on white men, but it's just time to finally start breaking down the levels of white men, because we need to bring them down to our level. White man needs to be seen as a woman, as a black man, as a gay man, as a gay woman, because we're all here and white men are here. Right. No matter how many levels we break them down, they're still gonna always be above us. So until we break that barrier to make it the even, playing field, they're gonna continue to win, and the conversation is never gonna win, because we have white people, at least white men that's in the media that's only talking about white men. And the white women that's there, they're only talking about white men. They're not even saying, like the instance with Joe Biden. I'm seeing all these people. I cannot even tell people on my Twitter page, Joe Biden needs to learn how to respect people's space. That's not an attack. That's just saying, Joe Biden, a lot of women who are witnessing you feel uncomfortable with your hands. Right. Keep that shit to yourself. Yeah. I can't even say that without people saying, oh, you want Trump back in office for 2020. What? So, because not even to cut you off, before you even get to physically, sexually, or violating me physically, you invade my space. Yeah. And if you don't invade my space, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to physically violate me. Yeah. But if you learn the boundaries of respecting people's space, something that we've all learned since kindergarten. Yeah. We've learned this since kindergarten. I don't care if he's a grumpy old man, if he's an old man and he's this and that. No one should be comfortable having a grown man touch their children the way Joe Biden has touched kids. I don't care what nobody said. Don't touch my niece on her shoulders. Don't sniff her hair. Don't walk up behind her when your penis can possibly touch her back. Don't do it. And it's the fact that we can't say that is damaging to the rape culture. Mm-hmm. Because all of it is a part of the rape culture. Yeah. All of it. There's a cause and there's an effect to everything. Mm-hmm. And Joe Biden, for all of his, pros, he has a whole lot of cons, and people are seeming to, he's worse on policy on paper than Hillary Clinton. Yep. By far. So much more conservative. And so much conservative. Mm-hmm. But yet, Hillary Clinton was the one who, was too much of a person who was untrustworthy, who was unlikable, and she was all these things. And I'm sitting here like, well, Joe Biden is worse. And I thought we wasn't going for the whole, we need new blood. So if we need new blood and we wasn't willing to take Hillary Clinton, then why the hell are we looking for Biden and Sanders?
Yeah. I think Joe's asking some really good questions about how we coordinate the shift in conversation and how we change I don't think it's about changing the conversation. I think it's about starting brand new conversations, which is what you and I have been doing.
Well, I will say about, I think it's up to the people. And when I say the people, I think the people, we have to start forming our own super PACs. And we have to start forming our own, political PACs and getting our messages out. Like, there's so many avenues through YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether through it's Twitter. We have enough people who follow us who can start donating to our causes, so us to start getting the message out and bring the media into our world. Like I suggested that, all the women that's running get their own small production company and have them do their own interviews by whatever journalists that they choose on Sunday mornings, have them follow them all around town hall meetings. Because if you don't build your own table, somebody else is going to build your own table, and possibly they're going to put somebody else in your chair to tell your story.
I like the idea of figuring out how to build more different PAC structures and different financial structures and different media structures under which we operate. I think that's a really cool idea. You started a PAC, didn't you? Did you start a PAC?
Well,
You're working on it.
Working on starting a PAC, and the ideas that I'm getting, it's almost completed. It's so juicy. Like, I'm so excited because my main, like I said earlier in the live, my main job right now is fucking dragging Bernie Sanders. I don't really care who gets the nomination, because at this point, none of these people really interest me per se. I do have a particular favorite, and that's just because I have to choose. This is the first time in a general election, in a primary election since 2000, that I don't know who I'm going to vote for. And that's kind of scary, because we've always been prepared as a party to know who is next.
Yeah, I don't have any idea who I'm voting for either.
I don't know, because one, it's still early. Two, these candidates are jumping from policy to policy. I don't know what's their core belief. Yeah. I don't know if they can defend these policies that they're creating. I mean, all of these are just nice talking points right now. And I see a lot of excitement on the field when I go to the town hall meetings. But at the same time, can you build a national movement? Yeah. Getting, because they like to say Hillary Clinton didn't win the middle class, which is a lie. Hillary Clinton did win the middle class because Black and brown people, we are, middle class. We are middle class too, and you cannot win just the white middle class and assume that you won the middle class. No, you have to win three components of the working class, and she has won all of it except white working class. So that doesn't mean she lost working class. No. She just lost the white working class, and she didn't even lose it by that much. For you guys to be coming into 2020 talking about rural America. Rural America made their bed. Yeah. Let them motherfuckers lay in it. I'm sorry. Like, you have 66 million people who voted for change or to continue the change that President Obama has made in this country. Yep. And yet you come in with your white working class language and talking points and think you're going to excite a Black gay man. No. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And another thing about it is just the simple fact that they just don't look ready. Like, I've been following politics since 1991. So this is not something that I've been, I just picked up in 2008 with President Obama, or I picked up with Hillary Clinton in 2015. I've been following politics since 1991 when I was 9 years old. I am 36. This is like a sport to me. And when I see an incomplete pass, and I feel like everybody that's running now is eyeing for vice president. Yeah,
that is a really great.
Whoever wins needs to be a great vice president. Because at the end of the day, I don't see Biden being president, because just based off of his they're going to destroy Biden.
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact that Biden has been in Congress since 1972. You have to explain your votes in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s.
Well, if they hold him accountable for that. Like, this is the thing.
It's not about...
I feel like there's some laziness that is happening about not expecting people to... I mean, we see this with Sanders, right? Like, there has got to be a point in which we stop... We really vet these people who are running for office. That we don't just rely on what the media tells us about who's running for office. That we really, Kristen says, wow. Yeah, Joe says that's a good point. I mean, I really think that I feel like we have to, thank you. We have to stop expecting the media to tell us what. Right. And I'm not talking you and me, we. I'm talking the general population, we. That the media is going to tell us exactly what we need to know so that we can be an informed voter. That's not real. But and also another thing, Democrats, stop being so goddamn scared. Yeah. Like, we have to vet these people. Yeah. Don't tell me anything about what Republicans or what Trump. I don't give a fuck. Excuse my language, but I don't care about what Republicans. Okay, I don't care about what Republicans and Trump are doing. I don't care. What I do care is who we nominate, because what really matter is the Republicans and Trump are not going to care. Yeah. They don't care. They're going to use every single angle. Yep. To dismantle our nominee. And to dismantle this nation. Yeah. They don't care about anything. So all these Democrats telling me, oh, we need to stay together. Oh, we need to have this unity. No, fuck that. Love should have brought your ass home in 2016. Fuck that. Oh my God, that's like the best quote ever. Like, love should have brought your ass home in 2016. Don't be telling me now. Oh my God, I love it. Don't be telling me now in 2020 that we need this love and we need this unity. No. Right? I'm going to do what I've been doing since 2000. Vetting candidates and making sure that I vote for the best candidate, period. Because once they get that nominee, they're going to talk about Joe Biden's votes against, women's rights. They're going to talk about Joe Biden's, whole entire segregation in the busing situation. They're going to talk about Joe Biden's crime bill. They're going to talk about Joe Biden's touching. They're going to talk about Joe Biden's being attached to President Obama's administration. They're not going to care about anything. So all of this you're talking about, we need to protect the nominee from what? Yep. Democrats show up to vote regardless. This is what we've been doing for years. Black people, brown people, we've been showing up even when motherfuckers didn't even show up to our state to talk to us. So all of this, she didn't show up to Wisconsin, is bullshit. Because a racist was on the ballot. A sexist was on the ballot. A rapist was on the ballot, and you're telling me she didn't fucking vote? You didn't vote for a woman because she didn't come to your state. What the holy fuck? It's called misogyny. It's maddening that you put your own life at hand because a grown ass person didn't come speak to another grown adult who can observe that we have a fucking terrorist running for president. And you told and you voted for Joe Stein, or you wrote Bernie Sanders' name in, or you just didn't decide to vote. Yeah. And now you want to come attack any other Democrat who's saying we're not just going to vote for any nominee. No, I don't give a fuck. Not just voting for any nominee. I'm not going to. Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat, and I'm not voting for that young man. I don't care. I'll piss on him before I even give him my vote. I'm sorry. All right. So we have a couple minutes left. Okay. So what is one or two, well, let's like 2 or 3, because I know you. 2 or 3 things you would love to see. Kristen's like, you guys have to do town halls on the road or something. I'm dying for next steps. We've been talking about that. We're going to go on the road next year. We've been talking about that. That's hilarious. She's my best friend. We've known each other since birth. Oh, so she already knows what it is. Yeah. She already knows. Yeah, no, I'm dying for next steps too. And so this is my thing. If you could think of 2 or 3 things that the people who are going to watch this, because people will watch this after we're done. Right. 2 or 3 things that you would love to see people do involving this presidential election.
One,
Yes.
really consider Hillary Clinton 2020. And this is not coming from...
She's not running.
No, I say they need to really consider, because at this point, we're at a draft Hillary Clinton moment. Like, this is Operation Draft Hillary Clinton 2.0. I don't care if people are rolling their eyes. I don't care if people are upset that I'm still on this Hillary Clinton. We are in a constitutional crisis.
Joe wants 9 or 10 things you want people to do. I want 3 or 4, because people won't do 9 or 10.
Right.
We are in a constitutional crisis.
And the only person that's calling it what it is Hillary Clinton. None of these 20 Democrats who've been running has called this thing a constitutional crisis.
Yeah, it's true.
This is what we're in. So either they don't know or they don't comprehend the magnitude of destruction that we're in.
Joe, she would win. I know she would. 2,
we also have to acknowledge the fact that Hillary Clinton has been right about
everything.
Everything that she warned us about, everything that they tried to dismiss, everything that came out of that woman's campaign has come back to bite us in the ass.
And let me just say, the abortion stuff is far worse than we possibly ever could have expected. And if y'all think they're not coming for your birth control next, you're up in the goddamn night.
They're coming for your birth controls as they give $50 million worth to fix broken penises.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So why is it okay that you can fix a broken penis, but a woman can't have the right to have an abortion? Let that God
just control her fertility.
God broke your penis.
Control her fertility.
God broke your penis. You don't get to fix it between having $50 million of my money, my tax dollars going to help that. So if women can't have abortions, stay with your limp dick. Sorry, I know it's crude, I know it's rude, but anyway, coming back to the whole what we should.
Wait, hold on, Jessica. I don't think she's considering it. I think that Dane wants her to consider it really super hard. No, I don't think she is.
You're not a Hillary Clinton. You don't know Hillary Clinton if you honestly believe that she's not considering it.
I don't think she is.
I think she's honest, and I don't even think she thoroughly is considering it. It's the fact that people around her.
That I will go with.
That's why I said it's called Operation Draft Hillary Clinton, because people are going to start
I will go with
to
that.
her.
Yes.
Because we already known her for all these years. For the last 40 years, she's been vetted. All she has to do is talk. She don't even have to. We already know. At this point, people are going to be like, she was right. Just give her to her. Just give it to her.
Yeah.
At this point, we're going to have to worry about the vetting of the new candidates. We're in Russia era. We don't know none of these candidates, and we don't know. We knew Hillary Clinton because we knew what Hillary Clinton built.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is pay attention to the constitutional crisis.
Pay attention to the candidates.
Pay attention to the candidates.
Don't be afraid to vet these candidates.
Ask them the questions. Ask them what you want to know. Tell them about what's happening in your life and ask them how they're going to handle that.
3, don't worry about what Republicans are doing.
No.
Don't worry about Donald Trump being in office. We need to make sure that we produce the best possible candidate possible to take on Donald Trump, Republicans, and Russia. I don't know if we're going to still have WikiLeaks around, but at the same time, we have to remember what we've been through in 2016. None of these candidates, they just seem like, oh, it was Hillary Clinton. That's why Russia was involved. Right. That's why WikiLeaks was involved. That's why the media was not reporting on her. All of those are smoke screens to just discredit Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Don't let this thing happen again.
Yeah.
We cannot let the media dictate, because what they committed was malpractice. They committed journalism malpractice in 2016. From that
they committed treason.
They committed treason. They were a part of.
It wasn't malpractice. Treason. It was treason.
And I think we're so desperate to get Trump out of office that we're running blindly into an election season just because we're so terrified of Trump. Trump is going to win regardless if Trump is going to win. That doesn't mean we just put anybody up against him. That's nonsense. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
4, stop complaining about people vetting. There's a difference between personally attacking someone and being honest about their vetting.
And vetting somebody to be the president of the United States of America.
Like,
this is serious business. We've been asked to rank the candidates from best to worst.
Me giving you my number one will tell you basically who I'm kind of for.
Yeah, I'm not willing to do that. Like, I don't know if I'm not ready to rip the Band-Aid off
I'm
yet.
not, because for one, it's as someone who has watched politics for so long, it's still too early to just endorse anyone.
Yeah, but here is something I will connect you to, because you're asking for to rank the candidates. There is a great feed on Twitter that has been put together, and I will type the handle right here. This is the follow Latat on Twitter, and on Twitter, and they have vetted the candidates in a really phenomenal way that lays it out their policy, like does a thorough analysis of their policy. So that will help you look at the candidates from best to worst. And if I can find that feed, I will go back and look at the feed, and then I will link it here in the comments too. And Joe's right. I mean, I think it is too early, but I think we need to be seriously looking at each of these candidates and their policy positions, and whether or not they can actually handle what has happened on an international level. We need someone who can handle that. And right now, not one of these candidates has the experience to handle what's happening internationally.
I'll say this for your question. My number one candidate is a woman.
Duh.
My worst, Bernie Sanders.
He's not a Democrat!
But he's on there, and he can possibly, win this, or whatever the case may be. But so I have 4 women that I can choose from before I even get to men. Period.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hello.
I'm not in the
I'm not voting for a man.
I'm not in the primary season. I'm not voting for a man.
Nope.
I'm not.
Nope.
And it's before I even, it's the women, then it's the people of color, then it's the white men.
I'm not voting for white men. Thank you for being here with me on the Facebook Live. We usually go for 40 minutes. You want to keep going? What else do you want to talk about?
We got to talk about these bots.
Oh, the bots! I forgot about the fucking bots!
The bots.
Oh, my God.
Well, you just know that they just released another, all the leaks are coming out of the Mueller investigation now. And one of the leaks that just came out recently is the fact that something that we already knew, that, Russia was working with Trump and Bernie Sanders supporters to, hype up their support and, lower Hillary Clinton's support. But these bots are, not only are they dangerous, they're annoying, they're ignorant,
such time wasters.
They're vicious,
and they're mean vicious. And threatening.
And
hi, Lori. Joe totally called you out. It was like, so Dane says number 20 is Bernie Sanders. He's giving you a little bit of and
he barely made the list.
Yeah.
But Hillary and
Kamala. Yeah, there we go.
Jessica's
not voting for a white man either. So these bots on Twitter, and y'all got to pay attention because they're starting to show up on Facebook too. So for those of you that aren't on Twitter, but you are on Facebook, you got to pay attention because they're starting to, and the only reason I know this is because my husband is an Army veteran, and so a lot of his buddies are conservative, and he shows me their feed of what they're reposting, and it is horrifying what they are reposting. And so I highly recommend that you focus on what's happening because it's starting again already. And the questioning of the women who are running for office, this sort of insidious language. And what I'm noticing these bots are really good at doing is separating again women of color from white women. And I talked about this in my class and when I was teaching last quarter, and I did make some people very angry at this because I was like, you have to pay attention to the way language is being used on social media and in mainstream media because it is meant to divide along color lines. Because if we actually come together along color lines, the whole fucking structure of the patriarchy dismantles.
Right.
It is, they're holding on, the patriarchy, I always have this vision in my head of like Gollum, like holding on to the edge of the Grand Canyon, like it's the patriarchy and he's falling backwards going, my precious patriarchy, right? Like, as long as people of color and white women, not white men, white women stay separated, the patriarchy holds on.
And that's
the minute we all come together, and that's what the bots freak me out about. I am watching these bots.
Like they
know the language they are supposed to be using. And yes, Bernie Bros are super cultish. They divide everyone, and it's creepy.
Pete Buttigieg, or whatever the hell his name is, his bots are becoming a little crazy too.
His bots are out of control.
I never knew.
Speaking of people sliding into my DMs with no lube, dude, which brings us all back to the beginning of all of this. I'm telling you, I'm like, what are you people even talking about?
And I don't know if these people are bots or these are actually real people. And maybe because I don't have a gay flag on my Twitter account, or I don't.
You're not a screaming homo.
I'm not
a screaming gay either.
But they're Pete, Mayo, whatever. I am gay. Like,
I am queer.
So I cannot be a homophobe just because I vet this guy.
Oh my God. Isn't that
annoying.
awful? The people who are like, well, you don't like gay people. I'm sitting here going, except for I put the B back in LGBT. What the fuck are you talking about?
And then they go on to be like, oh, well, okay, you're not a homophobe. That means you're racist. Well, black people can't be racist. We can be bigots and we can be prejudiced, but we can't be racist because racism is built off of the system of what white people to protect, elevate, and secure white people. That's racism. Can we be bigots? Of course. Can we be prejudiced towards another race? Of course. But racism, no. And that's coming from somebody who studied sociology in college.
Yeah.
This is not something that I'm making up to make seem like, oh, black people can't be racist. We have our ignorant ways and we have our ignorant
But racism is meant to keep white people in their place. Yes, it's a system.
And I'm going to call you out when you call me racist because, okay, you can call me a bigot, you can call me prejudiced, but you're not going to sit here and call me racist off of a system that white people, mainly white men, has built and created and still try to hold on to, because this is what, our whole discussion has been about.
Yeah.
White men being paraded as only the leaders of America.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. These bots, they come in there with these languages of just male superiority. Like it's never about, I never see a bot for a woman.
No, there's
no bots defending these women out here.
Mm-mm.
There wasn't no bots defending Hillary Clinton back in 2000.
No, because it was real people who were defending Hillary Clinton.
Right, and for the most part, they had to hide in secrecy.
And it's real people defending people.
Oh, please. Two women. Please, in 2019 and 2020, please do not hide in groups. Please do not hide in private Facebook groups and, don't want to put the woman that you feel that you want to vote for. If you want to post them on Twitter and have that as your profile picture, do it. They did this to Hillary Clinton last time, and they made it seem like her followers wasn't enthusiastic. They made it seem like she didn't have a following.
We cannot go back in the closet as women.
You cannot.
We have, as women, we have got to be out.
We all got to come out the closet at some point, and once we come out,
my friend Lori doesn't know what a bot is. So Lori, a bot is an actual automated account that uses Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat to intentionally target, and don't ever apologize, unapologetic, Lori, come on, that intentionally targets people who speak out about the
Russian regime.
The Russian regime, but they also use language to separate Americans.
Mm-hmm.
that makes people think that that there is actual Americans who are thinking this way, but it's actually not actual Americans. It's like automated feeds, basically.
Don't also forget that, Russia had a warehouse of 500 human beings working 24/7, checking in and out like clockwork, sitting down for 8 hours just to spew botism.
Yeah.
Their sole job was to get on the internet, clock in, and cause dysfunction in America. And they succeeded. And with Trump being in office, they haven't been dealt with. They have not been held accountable. Bernie Sanders has not voted against or voted for any Russian sanctions. So he's basically protecting these bots because they're in his favor. I just feel like we can no longer hide behind, threats. As scary as it was for some of these women who were, they were physically threatened, whether with rape or they found these women's address and say they was going to do certain things to them or whatever the case may be. We have to report it, we have to block it, but we cannot hide ourselves anymore. Like you have to.
No, we have to be out of the closet this time. We cannot
open.
be in those secret private Facebook groups. And I am part of one still that's been running since the election in 2016. But we have also created more public spaces because for us to have a voice. And Jessica, to answer your questions, yes, you report as spam and fake accounts, and then you block. Always block because they track those blocks, and it's really, really important. And
when you report, they have a little segment that you can write exactly why you're reporting this person. So just don't report. If there's I got somebody suspended last night it was totally acceptable for what they put, regardless of how ignorant they were, but they used the word nigger. With the A. And I'm sitting here was like, let me find out if this person can say this to a black person. Right. So within my segment of writing, to Twitter as I reported them, I said, listen, I'm a black man and I don't think this person is a black person and I don't think this person should be using the N-word in this type of manner. Yeah. And I got them suspended. I don't know for how long, but you have to go that extra 5 seconds, minute, mile, just to make sure that, because once you suspend 1, 10 more pops up. Yeah. Once you suspend 10, 20 more pops up. Yeah. You mentioned Bernie Sanders' name, thousands of motherfuckers pop up. Listen, I try not to mention his name because I get sick of the harassment, honestly. Joe, thank you so much for your compliment. We have actually done this once before, so go look back on my Facebook, in my Facebook Lives, and you can see that Dane and I have done this before. Because we love each other. We're about to go and we're tour. Really going to go on tour. It's going to be badass. Someone asked about advice to de-radicalize their half-brother, but I gotta say, there's no. The half-brother loves Bernie and has tried to change his mind. I'm gonna tell you this. This is my advice. Stop focusing on your half-brother and start focusing on the people that you need to get to the polls or that need the information about the candidates that are running for office who vibe with you the best. You can't de-radicalize the burners. It's not gonna happen. The focus is on the people who are lost and who all of the Hillary people, the 66 million of us, who are like, what the hell are we going to do now? That's your focus. Focus your energy on what you can win. Thanks, Joe. Thank you for the follow. I really appreciate that. But if you really want to show your brother that Bernie Sanders is full of shit, follow Mr. Dane at 1982 on Twitter. There you go. I drag him for filth every day with nothing but facts on Bernie Sanders. Period. I'm not going to stand here and watch him because I told people in 2015, Bernie Sanders is not going to be good for our party. And everybody said, oh, he's going to be good for our party. He's going to get people enthusiastic. Someone has to make sure that Hillary Clinton is ready. Forget that she was a woman who already ran for president and was ready. 50 years of experience, being president because she's held every single position that unless it's being president, because even when she was, in the 1990s with Bill Clinton, she was the senior advisor who was basically the president in shadow. You know who was the first person who did that? Who? Eleanor Roosevelt, whose signature is tattooed on my arm. Is that her favorite? And that is Hillary's favorite. But Eleanor Roosevelt's signature is tattooed on my arm. Yeah, so it's a lot of information out there on Bernie Sanders that you can use. Oh yeah. Don't trust the media because the media is about, propaganda and they're about ratings and they're about dysfunction and they're about nothing positive. Yeah. Absolutely nothing positive. They don't care about the average American. They care about that average rating. Yep. That's it.
Yep.
Like Melissa said, you know, we can. This is not only with Bernie Sanders supporters. This is just with white working class America. You are grown enough. I'm not about to sit here and beg you. I'm not about to sit here and tell you and try to change your mind. This is common sense policies and this is common sense politics. If you cannot, you know, come out of your cultist ways, I don't care about you. There's millions of other people who cannot vote, who should be voting, and there's a million people who have not registered to vote that should be voting.
Yep.
If I can't replace one Bernie Sanders supporter, I'm going to get, you know, someone who just turned 18 years old.
Yep.
I'm going to get someone who just came out of jail and finished their parole and now they're eligible to vote. You know what I'm saying? There's thousands of people in Florida who can now vote, but now they have this tax toll that they have to pay in order to vote for.
Right.
You know what I mean? So maybe someone in Florida can start a GoFundMe page, and we can start paying for these people to pay their fees off. So when it comes to 2020, they're eligible to vote. All their dues are paid off, and they can go vote and turn Florida blue. Sometimes we have to stop waiting for these big political groups and, you know, make the change ourselves.
Yes. And I'm going to be talking more about that tomorrow. I'm giving a keynote speech tomorrow here in New York, and I just put the link to the event in the comments. So if you're in New York, you should totally come and join me at my keynote speech, where I am helping WAR, Women's Health and Reproductive Rights, raise money. And then on Sunday, I'm doing a workshop for women here in Brooklyn, and I'm really, really excited at the YWCA in Brooklyn. So check it out.
Check it out.
Dane, I love you. Thank you. I don't want to stab you with my earring. I keep poking him in the eye with my earrings because they're my weapons of mass destruction.
Earrings. She's coming to New York, so she has to be ready.
Thanks for all for being here. Talk to you later. Have a good weekend. Bye.
See you later.